I'm Rachel Guthrie. I'm thrilled that you have chosen data analysis and finance with Elevator in your learning journey. I've spent the last 3 years at Microsoft. I spent the first 2 in cloud finance. It was sort of my foot in the door to Microsoft. And then about a year ago, I moved over to engineering. That's what Microsoft calls our IT people. Choosing the best tool for data analysis requires an understanding of volume. So the amount or scale of the data, the variety, how many different types of data sources, velocity, so the speed and the frequency at which the data changes. And then veracity is the quality of the data. How reliable or unreliable is it? Okay, so first of all, the difference between a formula and a function. So formula is a user-defined equation that starts with an equal sign. So like equals 1 + 2 in an Excel cell. Everyone knows that. Functions are, built-in calculations provided by Excel. And what you'll find when we get into Power BI and DAX is that DAX was actually built off of Excel functions. So when we're talking about financial planning, we can calculate cost, labor hours, project schedule variances using Gantt charts, believe it or not. So some companies will have fancy software for this type of planning. A lot of companies do not. In fact, even at Microsoft, I use Gantt charts for my project planning. So it's a visual representation of a project's critical path, which does not represent the most important tasks, but rather the longest path a project will take.
Conceptually, like the break even is where your inflows and your outflows tie, and you made no money, but it didn't cost you anything. So an example is that you're selling a product for $100 and the cost of materials and labor is 40, so your contribution margin is 60. And all that means is you have $60 at the sale of each unit to contribute towards your overall fixed costs, because every business has, some component of fixed costs and some component of variable costs. So, so for every widget you sell, you can contribute $60 to cover your fixed costs. And at what point do you have a profit? Well, once all your variable costs plus your fixed costs are met, then you end up with a profit. If you take these 2 columns and select them, and then you go to data forecast sheet. So this looks familiar, right? So this is from the slide. So in the options, you can tell it, like you can give it a forecast start and end. You can adjust the confidence interval. So you can say, I want to be 98% confident, or I only need to be 80% confident. And so you can adjust a couple of the things here in the forecast.
Okay, so when we're looking at the different types of charts, we care about what type of data we have. So are we looking at integers, categorical, time series, geospatial? Like if you want to show, where all the offices are located for a company, maybe a nice map is a good way to visually represent and show that. Or, if you're looking at a trend over time, typically a line chart is best for that. So really trying to zero in on the best type of charts, because there's so many different kinds, and you want to kind of know where you're going before you get too deep into it. These are examples of some really nice visualizations. This one is clean and simple, showing it. You can do this with animation over time. This is dynamic formatting, so it's really easy to see the red and the green area. It helps strengthen the story. And then this is a simple intuitive design where everybody knows what a needle on a scale means. So here you can see, like along the bottom, we've got California, Texas, Florida, New York, Pennsylvania. That's the top 10, right? On my chart, I've got everything. So there's a shortcut. This is in order of population. You could just take the first 11 rows, which would be the header plus the top 10. Or you can do the chart on the whole table, and you can filter, and you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, apply. Okay, so it's looking a little better.
This is the Power BI toolbar, and you'll notice like these pieces of it are Power Query, right? These pieces of it here are Power Pivot, and then this middle part here is the Power BI report tools. So the strength over Excel is in the visualizations piece. We can just take those to a whole new level through Power BI. Slicers are visuals that can be used to filter multiple reports on a page. So the Power BI that I was just showing here, so this is a slicer. So this is where I'm going to say, like, I want all the reports on the page to show like just this year. And this one is sort of 2 levels. See how it's bringing in the whole fiscal hierarchy, and it's giving me the year and the month. So this is an example of like financial metrics that you can propose based on the stage that your company's in terms of growth. And maybe your company's already got KPIs figured out and they're already tracking towards them. But if they're growing, they might want to look at increasing sales, maybe year over year or compared to plan. Revenue from new products, services, and customers. If they're growing, they're going to care about revenue per staff. We call it headcount. And that's a great measure of sort of like average productivity. Make sure that you're not too back end heavy on your cost structure. Asset utilization, so investment as a percentage of sales. That's a great one. And then R&D, same as percentage of sales.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap for today. Thank you so much. Come with questions, comments, feedback to the office hours before the next lesson on Monday. And thank you so much. Really appreciate the engagement, and we'll see you at the next class.